How you doing? My name is Greg Knapp. I am in for Dr. Savage on the Savage Nation. 855-400-SAVAGE. Get you on board. 855-400-SAVAGE. It's tax day. Happy tax day. We don't really say happy tax day, Greg. It's not a very happy occasion. All right, sorry. Just tax day. Good tax day to you. Bad tax day to you? Yeah, I've got the good and the bad news on the taxes. Who's paying what, how much, and maybe what we should do to change it. We're going to get into all that. And you saw in the last couple of weeks some of the tyranny of the far left, the so-called tolerance of the far left just not working out, right? We saw it with the co-founder of Mozilla, the CEO, pushed out simply because he donated to Proposition 8 in California that said that he believed marriage was between one man and one woman. That was it. Never accused of doing anything discriminatory at all to any of his homosexual employees. Too bad, that's it. Push him out. He resigned. I'm sure totally voluntarily, right? And then there was Brandeis University disinviting Ayaan Hirsi Ali, the feminist who is telling the truth about the anti-woman behavior of some Muslims in Muslim countries. She can't speak. No. How dare they even invite her? But guess who is going to be speaking at Brandeis University? Bill Ayers. Remember him? Terrorist Bill Ayers? Weather Underground Bill Ayers? Oh, well, that's different. Oh, yeah. This is why we need to privatize Social Security. Really think about it for a second. If you are one of the working poor, as they call people who are, quote, living paycheck to paycheck. Well, and you got to be careful with that. Some people live paycheck to paycheck no matter how much they make, because every time they get a raise, they spend more. So what I would consider the working poor are people who are working 40 hours a week, and they're just living at a subsistence level, and they're barely making it. Okay, that to me is the working poor. But people who are working, living paycheck to paycheck, and can't seem to find any money to put aside, you realize they're already putting 12.6% or something like that of their paycheck into Social Security, between what they put in and what their employer puts in, right? Now imagine if they were able to put that 12.6% or whatever it is straight into their own personal account from the day they started working until the day they retired. That's a significant amount. And guess what? It wouldn't change their lifestyle at all because they're already doing it. They're just already doing it at Social Security, which they're not going to get back. So I'm going to get into that in a minute, because guess what? There are a few counties in the United States of America that have been doing that, and the people who work there are retiring with a lot more money than people who have Social Security have done. But no, we can't touch that. That's going to throw grandma out in the cold. Yeah, and if you're young, you're not going to get back that money. Social Security right now has turned into a Ponzi scheme. The people who are retired right now are getting their money from the people who are working right now. Now, if you tried that with your personal company as the pension plan, you would be put in jail. But that's what we're doing right now. We're already right now paying out more every year than we're taking in Social Security money. But don't worry, though. We've got it all in the lockbox. Open up the lockbox, and there's an IOU. Yeah, but those IOUs are backed by the federal government. True, but since we're already borrowing 40 cents of every dollar we spend, there is no money there. So that means that we have to either tax more, borrow more. We have to find a way to get that money. So, yeah, right now, Social Security is starting to kill us. And pretty much everybody's tax rates went up in 2013. That was from Obamacare and the fiscal cliff deal. But, don't worry about it. It's just to make the rich pay their fair share. And the rich haven't been paying their fair share. So, we're going to get into that. This is the Savage Nation. My name's Greg Knapp, in for Dr. Savage. 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-SAVAGE, or michaelsavage.com as well. I'm going to come to your phones in just a second. Hang tight. But I want to get you this story, too. It's not just your federal income tax, it's your payroll tax, right? And how often do we hear that the working poor just can't save anymore? There's no way they can save. Well, they're already saving. They're putting it into Social Security. The problem is they're not getting it back. 6.4% on their end, or 6.2% I think it is on their end, 6.2% on the employer. That's 12.4% of what could be their income going to Social Security that they're not going to get back at the level they should, if at all. Well, did you know that there are 3 counties in Texas that opted out of Social Security? They allowed them to do it 30 years ago. And they got personal retirement accounts. Galveston, Matagorda, and Brazoria counties. The county employees were allowed to do this. And they didn't go to an IRA or a 401k either. They did something called the alternate plan. Forbes points it out. It's a banking model. Now, here's what happens. The contributions are managed by a financial planner. And the contributions are pooled. It's like a bank deposit. Pool all the deposits. The top rated financial institutions bid on the money. Then you choose who you use to manage your money. And these institutions guarantee you an interest rate. A lot of people do this with certain types of insurance contracts too, and other kind of funds that you can do, where you're guaranteed, even if the market goes down, you'll still make a 2% increase. Wouldn't you like that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, the way they can do that, when the market goes up, they'll limit the upside. They'll say it can only go up to this high no matter what the markets do. And here's what they've been doing over the last 30 years. They've averaged between 3.75% and 5.75% annual returns. The average overall is about 5%. So even during the recession, they went up, not down. Pretty cool, right? All right, well, what happens when they retire? And by the way, does this include things like death benefits, survivor's benefits, insurance? Yep, all that. Everything Social Security does, it has. But think about this. If you were making about $26,000 at retirement, you're on the low end. Social Security would give you about $1,000 a month. This plan, $1,826, almost double. Whoa, that's not bad. All right. Well, what about a middle-income person? You're earning about $51,000 a year. Social Security, you get about $1,500. This plan, $3,600, more than double. High end, say you're a high-end worker, maxed out your Social Security contribution every year, about $2,500 from Social Security. With this plan, between $5,000 and $6,000 a month. Now, why aren't we doing this and privatizing the plans for every American who wants to? Why aren't we doing it? You know why? Because it takes away your dependence on government. And it takes away the reason that some people are able to buy your votes. We should be doing that right now. But anytime we even talk about doing something like that, they want to destroy Social Security. No, Social Security is destroying itself. I want to fix it. Love your thoughts on all this. 855-400-SAVAGE. Get you in. 855-400-SAVAGE in just a minute. Well, actually, let's get into that right now. Let me just throw that at you right now. The idea of not paying their fair share. Now, the latest numbers that I can get from the IRS on who's paying their fair share is 2010. And let me just set this up. I don't make millions of dollars. I would love to make millions of dollars one day in radio, but I don't. I'm not in the top 1%, not even close, okay? So I don't have an axe to grind on saying you're taxing me too much as a super rich guy, but I don't understand why we think we want to punish people who become super successful. Why? I hope I am super successful one day. But let's look at the people who make a ton of money and see, are they paying their fair share? Because the left tells you they aren't. The top 1% income earners in America, these are people who are making over $354,000 a year, okay? And that goes way up there. Past that, people are making hundreds of millions. But everybody who's making more than $354,000 a year, they're earning almost 19% of all the income. See, that's not fair. It's 1% of the people, and they're making 19% of the income. But aren't they earning it? Well, they say they're earning it. All right, well, they're earning 19% of the income, but guess what percentage of all the income taxes they're paying? Now, to me, here's what would be fair. If you're earning 19% of the income, then I would expect you to be paying 19% of the income taxes. That seems to make sense. No. They're earning 19% of the income. They're paying 37.4% of the income taxes. Almost double. Isn't that almost double their fair share? I mean, really think about it for a second. Now, if you're somebody who thinks that the rich don't pay enough, tell me how that's not enough. Tell me how paying almost double is not your fair share. You're earning 19%. You're paying 37.4% of all the income taxes. Well, how about the top 10%? These are people who are, not super rich. What about them? What about them? Top 10% are earning 45% of all the income they're paying 71% of all the income taxes. Is that amazing? Think about that for a second. And these are people who are making $100,000 or less. They're making 45% of the income. They're paying 71% of all the income taxes. It's not enough. These awful, evil, rich people. Come on. There's a problem with that, isn't there? That we're still trying to soak it to these guys and saying they're not paying enough? Well, I got good news and bad news on all these taxes on tax day. I want you to tell me, do you think that our current tax system is fair? Are you paying too much or not enough or just right? Gallup's asking that, and it's got some very interesting answers. And I'm going to tell you about some tax day freebies you can get. But, you know, when you look at are you paying enough or are you not paying enough or is it fair, is it not fair, you got to look at everything. Your federal income taxes, your state income taxes, your payroll taxes, your sales taxes, your property taxes, your utility taxes, taxes on your cell phone, taxes on your internet, taxes on your gasoline when you fill up your car. I mean, if you really start factoring all this in, it's amazing what we're paying in taxes. My name is Greg Knapp, in for Dr. Savage on the Savage Nation. We're talking about taxes on tax day. 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-SAVAGE. And we're paying a ton of taxes. And are we getting what we should for it? And is the country being run the right way with it? And are people paying their fair share? When the top 1% is earning 18.9% of the income, basically 19%, and paying 37.4% of the income taxes, aren't they paying more than their fair share? Bottom 50% earning about 12% of the income, paying about 2.5% of all the income taxes, is that their fair share? Is there a better way to do all this? Love your thoughts on it. Let me start with John, WMAL. Says he loves taxes. John, you're on the Savage Nation. My name's Greg Knapp, in for the doctor. Go right ahead.
I do, because it makes my bigger point that per capita, there is no country ever in the history of civilization has more middle-class millionaires and billionaires than the United States. Nobody. This is the richest country in the history of history. And the reason is because of how much money we have and how much money we're able to produce through creation.
Right.
Not just
I
jobs.
totally agree. The problem is what we're doing with our taxes and our regulations is we're making that harder and harder. There's a story where Walgreens is thinking about even leaving the United States because of the tax burden. I mean, John, what we're doing is we're taxing people into giving up creating wealth like we used to do. The more we punish people for success, the less we're going to get. These huge taxes are not what made this country great. What made this country great was that we didn't have huge tax burdens and we didn't have huge regulation burdens, and that's how we had the explosion of the biggest economy on the history of the planet and more people raising up out of poverty than ever before. Now we're going the other way.
To a certain degree, we are, but you mentioned Walgreens. But for every Walgreens, there's 10 that are staying. They're willing to take the trade-off. Walgreens is a dinosaur. So it's not one of those companies that can survive it. But
well, John, I appreciate the call, but let me just tell you a couple things about the taxes on corporations. We've got Apple, Microsoft, GE, many other huge companies who are keeping trillions of dollars out of this country that they have earned overseas. You know why? Because they've already paid taxes on their profits overseas, and now when they want to bring it back here to invest it here and build this economy, we want to tax them again. Why would we do that? They've already paid taxes on that money. Bring it back, invest it here. But that's how screwed up this tax policy is, and somehow we're blaming those companies for it. My name's Greg Knapp. This is the Savage Nation. I'm in for the doctor.